It's one of the most confusing and painful moments a man can go through. You finally decide to open up. You show her you care. You send the good morning text. You start being more available. You listen, you support. Maybe you even talk about your feelings, which doesn't come easy. And just when you think you're building something real, she starts to pull away. She takes longer to reply. She seems colder, less engaged. Maybe she even disappears altogether. And you're left wondering, what did I do wrong? You replay everything. You were kind, consistent, emotionally present. Isn't that what she wanted? This is where a lot of men start to spiral. You think maybe you scared her off by being too much. You start blaming yourself for caring. You feel powerless, rejected for simply showing up with sincerity. And deep down it feels unfair. Because you didn't play games, you were just real. But here's the truth. This isn't about you doing something wrong. It's about understanding something deeper. Something most men were never taught about female psychology. See, when you show you care, what you're really doing is making the emotional stakes real. Before that, things were light, maybe a little uncertain, but safe. There was mystery. There was curiosity. She was still figuring you out, and in that space, she could project her own ideas onto you. But when you show that you're truly invested, it changes the emotional balance. For some women, especially those with unresolved emotional wounds, this creates a fear response. Not because you were too kind, but because kindness now means vulnerability. Emotional intimacy means risk. And for women who've been hurt, who have attachment issues, who grew up learning that closeness leads to pain, this sudden emotional safety can feel threatening, even suffocating. When a woman pulls away after you show you care, it often has nothing to do with how much she likes you, and everything to do with what closeness triggers within her. A lot of women, whether they know it or not, have experienced emotional inconsistency in their past. Maybe from a father figure who was distant, or from past relationships that turned toxic after they opened up. So now, when they start to feel something real, when a man shows actual care, their nervous system freaks out. It says this isn't safe. Run before you get hurt. And in that moment, she may pull away not because she doesn't want love, but because love feels dangerous. Now here's the twist most men miss. The more you start reacting to her distance, the more she feels her fear was justified. If you start chasing, over-texting, panicking, questioning your worth, then suddenly, she's no longer dealing with the calm, grounded man she was drawn to. She's now feeling the pressure of emotional neediness, and that pushes her even further away. So what do? You don't chase, you don't punish, you don't perform, you pause. You stop trying to win her back and start coming back to yourself. Because the moment you make her withdraw means something about your value, you lose your center. You hand your self-worth to her, and that's not attractive, not to her, and not to the part of you that knows you deserve better. Here's the deeper truth. Women don't respect a man who abandons himself just to keep her close. She might feel guilty. She might pity him. But respect? Attraction? That comes from a man who holds his emotional ground, even when he's uncertain. So if she pulls away after you show you care, let her. Give her space. Let her feel your absence. Not as punishment, but as a natural boundary. You showed up with your heart open. You were real. You were solid. And if she can't meet you there, that's not a reflection of your worth. That's a reflection of where she's at. Some women simply aren't ready for what you're ready for. Some still think love should feel like a game, like drama, like tension and chase. That's not your job to fix. Your job is to be the kind of man who doesn't need to convince anyone to stay. Because here's what matters most. A high-value man doesn't beg for connection. He creates space for it. And he respects himself enough to walk away from anything that asks him to shrink. You can care deeply. You can be emotionally available. You can be soft-hearted and strong-backed. But you must never tie your sense of identity to someone else's ability to love you properly. When a woman sees that you care without collapsing into neediness, when she feels your presence but also your power, that's when she starts to lean in. And if she doesn't, that's okay too, because a man who knows his worth doesn't fear loss. He knows that real connection is never forced. It's chosen by two whole people. So the next time she pulls away after you show you care, remember this. It's not a rejection. It's a revelation about where she's at, about what she's ready for, about the kind of relationship she's capable of having. Let her go if she needs to go, and use that moment to rise deeper into yourself, into your clarity, into your calm, into the kind of masculine presence that doesn't need to chase, because he knows the right woman will never run from real love. She'll rise to meet it.